Hey, GH fans. Oh my goodness. There's so much that we need to talk about here today, and I don't know where to begin. But I do want to say to you guys before I do dive deep into this past week and the wedding of the century. Oh my gosh. As well as the rescue of the century. There's been some spoilers that are coming out. Ryan is Esme's bio dad. Daughter reveals connection to serial killer dad. So apparently on the episode on September 7th, Miss Esme, which it went right over my head, mentioned that she was adopted. So now what they're trying to feed us is and set us up for, and I hope it's really not true, because do we need another psycho bitch on the line? Come on now, folks. Is that Miss Esme may be Ryan's bio child. But then you would ask, who was crazy enough to lay down with him long enough to have a baby, deliver the baby, and him never find out? Or the woman is so upset, maybe she was raped by him during his fixations, because you know he likes blondes, and she has this baby and she puts it up for adoption because it's Ryan Chamberlain's baby. And she's been researching him so very deeply and was so extremely interested in him when she went to the prison with Spencer to visit his aunt Alexis. So she did all this research on lock-in syndrome. She got up all up in his psyche a little bit there because he did the blinky thing several times to say go. And Harmony also felt some really negative energy from this girl. And while Harmony is not the best person in the world, she can spot a fake, a phony, and someone is up to something really horrendous because that's her MO. And she clearly said that this young lady is one of those girls that Shiloh would make it his business to approach because they're weak minded and they already have some mental issues. So I told you, he done brought home his own personal stalker. If she turns out to be Ryan's biological child, then who's the mother? Okay, is she dead or alive? And what the heedy hot is this chick have in store for Ryan? Is it good? Is it bad? Is she resentful? Or is she just plain crazy? Me, I'm voting for the plain crazy. So that's the little preview I have here, that I see on Miss Esme. And then there's a spoiler I also found about Sonny coming back. So we know that coming on Monday, he's going to be making his business to try to get home, busting his hump to get through all the obstacles to get back to Port Charles. Now, he doesn't know about the wedding, okay? And my biggest question at this point is Jack's going to tell him? Is Jax going to stick around long enough to talk to him? It's cranberry juice. Okay. And fill him in on the poor Charles T, give him the 411 as to what has happened, not only to his business, but his family. Okay. Now, I don't want to jump too far ahead now that I'm here with Sonny. We know that he's going to be breaking his neck to get back to town. I'm very curious as to how this is going to work. Is he going to interrupt the honeymoon? Okay. Is Carly and Jason going to have that opportunity to consummate the marriage? And if they do, what does that mean once Sonny does show up? Because he's been declared dead. So she's no longer legally married to him. Otherwise, she would not have been able to legally marry Jason. Okay. And they had no choice but to declare him dead within soap opera time, 3 to 6 months, when we know in reality it takes 7 years to declare somebody legally dead. Now, if there's some evidence to the contrary, I'm not sure you can do that sooner than 7 years. But what we know In reality, it takes 7 years. If there's something legal that I'm not aware of, in all of my 60 years, not really knowing the law and not being a lawyer, I'm not professing to be anybody who knows the law line by line, but I think this is a common thing that it would take 7 years to declare somebody legally dead. So in that time frame, you should be searching for that person. But with him, they went from a search and rescue to recovery to he's dead. Okay. And if the people in Nixon Falls, the cop, number one, who met him twice, ran his fingerprints, he would have found him. We know that. We know that him going to the hospital and they taking his blood, putting it in a database, trying to find out if this man has been on lithium before because you found traces of it in his system, he should be in a database because you have to be in a database for lithium. It's not something over the counter. It is prescribed. So they should have been able to find out who he was within those 3 months. If they were doing their due diligence as writers, not as actors, not as the show, as writers. But we're dealing with the soap opera world, so there you go. But I got this other preview for coming up for next week, and of course it talks about the wedding and the explosion. The explosion outside the church that I tell you I can write this show. I tell you I can write this show. We're sitting in here saying these fools, Novak and Bassam Seme or whatever his name is, sitting in the backseat of that car, all comfy cozy. Oh, they look so happy. Too bad it's not going to last. Oh, they're going to go up with a bang. And you know Jason, you know he had the cars checked. You know he has his men in place. That's the reason why Jason and Sonny work so well. Okay? Because, number one, Sonny taught him everything he knows. Number two, in their 20 some odd years in business together, they've learned a thing or two. And they don't like bombs. And they especially don't like car bombs. And we know why. I don't have to go back. Lily. Or the other times that a car has blown up, Morgan. Okay, so they don't blow up cars. They may blow up your warehouse. We've seen Jason blow up a warehouse, but he makes sure there's nobody in the warehouse. So pay attention. But this time, you threatened his girl. Before she was even his wife, you threatened his girl. So even if she wasn't his wife, you threatened his girl. Okay? So y'all was going to get it some way, somehow anyway. He just waited and knew that something was going to be pulled at the wedding. And Madam Wu, can we talk about the two-faced Madam Wu? She whispers something to Jason in his ear, and evidently she must have warned him somehow. But he already confirmed after her little warning, whatever that was, that he had already thought of that. He already made provisions. It just confirmed something I already knew. That's my boy. That is stone cold. Okay? While Sonny may think a little further before taking somebody out, y'all, if you know Jason's history and you know when he gets into stone cold mode, when people are threatening his family, he is no holds barred. Do it now. Why are we waiting? Just say yes, boss. Let me take him out. Why are we waiting? Jason don't wait. He ain't giving you a chance to think twice about it. He's not going to give you a chance to come up on them a second time. Okay? Because even if he gets rid of Uncle Novak and Joey comes back trying to pop something, Joey's a punk. He's a punk. And on top of that, he's a gummy punk. Because I don't know, no reflection upon the actor. I know they probably chose him. because of his stature and the way he uses his face and everything just to be that slimy kind of gangster kind of thing going on. But he's a punk. He's a punk who thinks with his ass. Okay? So my gangster mentality tells me we ain't gotta worry about Joey Novak. Okay? But we gonna get rid of these two heads because we know that they're working for the snakehead. It's a what you call it? A Gamora, the one with more than one head. So that dragon, we know that Jason is gonna cut the heads off one by one. But we got two at a time. So when that driver, unfortunately the poor driver, but when that driver pushed that button and that car blew up, that was not Jason and Carly. And they didn't even have to tell me. But of course, some idiot gives us a complete preview of Monday. All right. And of course, it's a spoiler. So I'm going to say spoiler alert because I'm going to read it. Teases that Jason Morgan's sneaky move will pay off while Valentine Cassadine vows to shoot Peter August. Sonny Corinthos will also decide to rush home immediately. So let's talk about what's coming up. At the reception, Maxie will remain in full planner mode. We know what she's up to. She's making sure that everything is perfect for the Valkyrie and the Stone Cold. And I'm telling you, that ceremony was beautiful. She looked beautiful. He looked beautiful. Okay. And I'm sorry, people are like, oh, he was losing weight. Nah, my man, if you follow him on Instagram, Steve Burton has his own nutrition company, number one. He's a workout fanatic, number two. And the man has not 1 ounce of fat on his body, number three. I wish I could. I wish I had the will. Because, Lord, the man looks fantastic. And he's 50. Okay? So, that's why Steve Burton looks so freaking fantastic, yummy, delicious in his suit during that wedding. And Laura Wright, we know that she's very much a spiritualist. She's heavy into meditation and good health and self-care. So she, in her golden gown, the golden Valkyrie, I mean, Maxie totally did perfection. Okay? I mean, I can almost say it's better than the last wedding that she did. And her last wedding that she did for Carly was to Sonny. Okay? And even though it was at the house and it was lovely and it was intimate, this was off the hook. This was truly off the hook. Okay? So they get to the reception. She feels it's her responsibility to keep things moving right along. But there'll be a problem since the bride and groom will be missing. So we know they'll be a little late. You know, that's all. She'll vent to Austin, who may insist Jason and Carly will be there soon. We know they're going to show up. While Maxie waits, she'll have a nice bonding moment with Spinelli and perhaps try to lift his spirits over his failed marriage. Now, that's something I'm looking forward to because Maxie and Spinelli have not had any real time together alone, you know, to talk about something else besides Peter and Louise. And I think it would be fair for her to support him because they are so close. And I am hoping, I didn't want to cross my fingers because I don't like to do that, but I am hoping, writers, that you hear us and you put Maxie and Spinelli back together once we get rid of Peter, okay? Because we don't want James and Georgie and Spinelli to suffer because of Peter, because we know he has already threatened James, and I already got a problem with that. So Anna better be ready to pull that freaking trigger. That's what I'm talking about. We know that Valentine will not hesitate. He will pull that trigger, no problem. But we can't trust Anna to do the same thing, okay? Because she I'm not going to fuss. I'm not going to fuss. I told myself I was not going to fuss at this woman. When Albrecht calls her the scarecrow, I am totally on board with that because she gets on my bloody nerves. Okay? She's two-faced. She can never decide what side of the legal fence she wants to be on unless it serves her. And if it doesn't serve her, then she gonna push hell and high water to get your ass locked up. Okay, but when she needs you to pull the trigger, oh, she ain't got no problem with that. You can pull the trigger. She ain't got no problem with that. Okay, because it serves her purpose. But if she was smart, she would have let Jason take his ass out when he first had him on his knees on the dock. Should have let it happen. Should have let it happen. But and I'm sorry, was Spinelli married to Ellie? Because I don't remember them getting married, and they're saying failed marriage. So I think you're wrong. Okay, whoever did this little spoiler, because Spinelli and Ellie never got married. They were living together, common law, but they didn't sign no papers. Okay, there was no ceremony. So I need you to check on that. Okay. As for Willow, she'll let Michael know he lives up to the best man title in more ways than one. We know that because he is the best man, and he's the reason why these two people love each other in the first place. Starting those 20 some odd years ago. Then we got Cameron, Jocelyn, Trina. They'll also squeeze in some time together. They're thinking about Spencer and Esme. Could kill the fun vibe. I don't know why you would bother to do that. If you're at a wedding reception, enjoy the reception. I understand why they didn't have the little kids at the show. I did see somebody post, why wasn't Jake and Danny there? Or Avery, or Baby Donna, and I can understand why they did not, because they all knew that there was a possibility that something might jump off. That's why. Now, the teenagers, or we shouldn't even call them teenagers, the young adults, because they're supposed to be between the ages of 18 and 20. So the young adults can make their own decisions as they want to be, knowing the circumstances that are taking place, because of course Jocelyn lives and breathes bodyguards, so they're not oblivious, and I'm sure their parents weren't either. So all those people who were online questioning why the little children weren't there, first of all, why would you want little kids at a wedding? Number one, number, because I'm not for it. You know, during the ceremony maybe, but when it comes time for the reception, y'all need to find a babysitter, okay? Because I'm trying to get my drink on, and I'm not trying to hear screaming babies in my video. So I love my babies, I love them all, but there is a time and a place, and wedding reception is not the time. Maybe not even the ceremony. It really depends on the people. And because this was supposed to be a very adult situation, again, I understand why the little people were not at the wedding. Okay. Now, so we'll move on. Olivia and Ned, of course, are in a disagreement stage right now, because it is obvious that something is up with Leo. I think it's autism. He's on the spectrum somewhere. So they're going to be introducing a new medical highlight for us. And I believe that's going to be autism with Leo. And the denial that a parent may go through when it comes to getting a diagnosis and proceeding with the process of getting him the best educational support that he can, as well as daily support, so that he will be able to function in the real world. So that's what I'm thinking that it is. Of course, they haven't said anything out loud, but it's going to come to that, you know, because Ned hasn't told her the whole truth about something, so she'll rip into him, especially if it relates to Leo and his communication problems. Of course, Olivia could also find out something that ties in with all the ELQ drama, and that's what she's basing Austin's attention towards Leo right now, that he's trying to use that as a string to get in with the family. I don't want to think that, because if you're that low down to use a child, but remember, I still have him on the Peter train. I still have him as the person that was meant to deliver Maxie's babies in the woods at the cabin that he owns, that Peter rented from him. Austin's claiming that he had no knowledge of who rents the property. But excuse me, if you hike these woods every day and you check on your properties, especially before and after somebody stayed or during they stayed, as you showed up when the cops were there and when Dante and Sam were doing their little bit of investigation after the cops have finished their duties, then you know what the fuck is going on with Peter. So excuse my French, but I think he's on the Peter train. So I'm not totally trusting him. If they're using this as his redemption, as to kind of turn things around, instead of making him a villain, because people may have complained that they're tired of seeing Roger Howarth playing a villain and then being redeemed as this good guy on the show. Boring, recycled. Let's come up with something new. Thank you very much. But we'll see what happens with that. Then we go on to Brooklyn. She'll take a break from worrying about her crazy family and all the company chaos, and she's going to go visit Chase. Okay, so she's going to visit Chase, catch up with him, see how he's getting along, how his recovery is going. Of course, she's going to take the baby with him, and he is going to have his moment to bond with Louise Bailey, and he's going to look at the baby, and he's going to be like, I'm sorry, but this baby don't look like you. Oh, Valentine. Who baby this is? She kind of looked like Maxie. Looks a little bit like James. Okay. So he'll insist to give her a gift to take back to Monica, say thank you for her hospitality, even though he was more than willing to double cross the family. So, do we accept his gift or do we take it as a grain of salt, brush it off? I mean, Brooklyn did not tell Monica what Chase did, and obviously neither did Michael and Willow, so what's up with that? I would not trust him. Okay, he's back in his apartment. Brooklyn's going to go over there, get the updates. He's going to assure Brooklyn that he's almost 100%, but he'll hint that holding Bailey will make him feel better, and of course she does. Then he'll notice something peculiar. Brooklyn will be nervous when Chase doesn't think Bailey looks like Brooklyn or Valentine, as I said before. But babies don't look like nobody for sometimes, so he's gonna brush it off because him and Hamilton don't look anything alike. So there you go. Genetics can be weird, but we know the truth, so we're gonna move on from that. As for Chase, he reflects on his time and wouldn't trade it for anything. So he feels like his time with Willow, regardless of the BS that he created, he still loved her, and he will not regret his love for her. All right, there you go. Back at the reception, Spinelli will tell Brando about the explosion that just happened outside of All State. So everybody is evidently left the church and have already headed for the Metro Court for the reception, which is obviously not far from the church. And they're like casually, because if it was Jason and Carly's car, he would have been losing his mind. They all would have been losing their minds. So we know that it wasn't them. So the fact that, it's not that, they'll understand there'll be some concerns about Carly and Jason, but the newlyweds will ultimately show up alive and well. And probably looking really happy if they snuck off to consummate the marriage, which is what I'm hoping for. Okay, because Sonny, you don't deserve to come back home and think that everything is going to be hunky-dory, especially since your ass, as Mike, was talking about, I don't want to know who I was. If it wasn't for, like he said, a near-death experience, and his father spirit, thank you, Mike, thank you, Max Gale, thank you, writers, for doing something right. It took you damn a year to do it, but come on now. You did it, finally. To wake his ass back up to who he really is. Okay? And when he ripped off that mask, that air mask, and said, I know my name is Sonny, and I remember everything, Nina. And I mean everything. Which means he has both memories. He has his Mike memories and he has his Sonny memories, which means he can account every moment that she distracted him from getting his real memories back months ago. Months ago. He's going to be, if he don't tell her into her righteously, failure. And let me skip off for a minute because I know okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to what I was reading and then I'll go back to Sonny and Nixon Falls. But so Mr. Busceme, 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 and Vincent Novak, okay, who must have got splat outside of the church, and we're going to hope that is true. Mr. Busceme and Vincent paid a steep price for thinking they could take down Jason and Carly following the nuptials. And Madam Wu set their asses up, okay? She set their asses up. She gave Jason a hug and said, "There's a bomb under your car." Novak and Basume, I know I'm saying it wrong, have set you up and working with Cyrus Renault. I wonder if that's all she said, if that's everything. He didn't want to tell Carly at that moment because why ruin our day? But I sincerely think that she said, these two set you up with Cyrus. Which means Jason's got to get rid of Cyrus in prison. He's got to go. I'm tired. Jeff Colbert, great actor, but you got to go. When you came back on camera, I was pissed. I was pissed because I'm sick of Cyrus. I'm sick of the whole thing. Can we have some peace, please? Okay? It's enough going to be happening with Sonny comes back and the issue hits the fishy for that. All right? But, you know, Brando is happy that his mom wasn't in the car. So we're obviously going to get confirmation on that. You know, I hate spoilers. But then again, with General Hospital, you kind of need them. You know, because right now the writers make it where you sit down and you say, do I want to watch? Do I want to watch? When will I watch? Do I have to watch today? That's how it's been. That's the real. So, undoubtedly, we want to believe that the car bomb was them. So I'm going to hope that. Sending a bold message to their enemies that you need to back the fuck off. Okay? Once Brando hears all the details, he'll be relieved that Gladys escaped the danger. He'll point this out to Gladys that she could have been in that car and things could have gone very differently for her. We should have put her in the car. Because I am sick of Gladys. Sick of Gladys. Sick of Gladys. Can Gladys take a stray bullet, please? I need her to take a stray bullet. I need her to take a stray bullet. Okay? You know, he just wants his mom to stay safe. Understandably, and he kind of steers her away from the mob dates. Come on now, Miss Thing. But she's talking about you not thinking about how you're going to take care of your baby. Being in the mob is your best response to your son when you know he can get killed at any time. Now, granted, he can get killed the moment he steps out his door, or if he's working on an engine and look at all my gray hair, and things go wrong there. But for the most part, if he stays out the mob, he's got a 99.99 point chance to stay alive. So, Gladys, you need to back up off him. You need to leave him alone. You make me tired. All right. All right. So we're going to skip. I'm going to go back to Sonny and the fire. Can we talk about Jax's ass? Jax is the devil incarnate. I am sorry, folks. He was more than willing to let Sonny die in that fire. Made no effort whatsoever to help him. Got Nina out of there, got Phyliss out of there, kept them from going back in, granted. But you also did not give firm information. Yes, you told them how to get in. And what also killed me is these weak-ass firemen. How did Sonny get out and you couldn't get in? And the man told you how to get in. And Sonny came out the same way that Jax told you firemen to get in. But you can't get in. And you, no hoses, no nothing. Y'all just letting it burn. What kind of mess is that? No hoses. There was no hoses, no water, no nothing. I know it's a set, but y'all could have did a damn sure better than that. Damn sure better than that. Okay? It was a fire. So we're to believe that these firemen are not going to take their hoses to try to get in here to save this man. Poor direction. Poor writing of that scene. You fucked up. Writers suck. Okay? But what you didn't suck at was showing Jax's true colors. Jax, everybody wants to just say Jax is so good and he's a good guy. And no, he is not. He is a self-serving egomaniac. And because he on one hand, he gonna tell this woman, tell the truth, this man has children, but you don't fight to help him. You could have redeemed yourself and got a little more respect from Sonny if you would have brought your ass in that building and saved him, because you had time. Poor direction, poor writing. He had plenty of time. But he gonna spend all his time fighting with Nina and trying to get Maxie on the phone to do what? To stop a wedding for a man that you had no business or no bandwidth or wherewithal to save. So what was you gonna tell Maxie? Stop the wedding, Sonny's alive, but he's trapped in the fire and may be dead? Which means that's twice he's going to die on them. And you're more than willing, obviously, to go back to Port Charles if this man wouldn't have got himself out. To say to Carly and Jocelyn and to Jason and everyone else that I found him. Nina knew where he was the whole time and didn't say anything. And I didn't call you guys immediately because this all is happening within 24 to 48 hours. We're going to say 24 because, 24 in soap opera time is 7 days. So while the wedding is going, and I said it, didn't I say it? That Jax was going to be in Nixon Fall discovering Sonny and Sonny finding out the truth while Jason and Carly would be on the altar getting married. I said it. Told you. But what I did not expect was that they were going to write him as so wicked that he would have not gone back in that building because he had time to save Sonny. If Sonny had time to have his little near-death moment, flash of life reality, call out Carly's name twice, visit from his dead father, push a beam on fire off his back, and still get up, fall to his knees for at least 2 minutes, and find his way out that same back door that you were directed to come inside as a fireman. Had all that time. Nina's out there crying, oh, Mike, bitch. I know who he is. Don't look at me like I'm crazy and delusional. You are. Too late. deep in. And even when they were at the hospital and Sonny's getting checked out and she's outside the door and Jackson's like, you know, this has to end. I'm not going to keep this secret. She's looking at him like, really? Please don't tell. They're married by now. Can I have him? He's mine. He's my Mike. Man, she walked in that room when Phyliss came out and said, yeah, he want to see you, all right. Yeah, he want to see you. When she said, Mike is gone. Looking at Jackson, she's like, he's kind, he's respectful, he's grateful, but he's not Mike. The energy is totally different. Jax, you just met Sonny Corinthos. Yeah, but here's the thing. Michael, and Sonny are the same person. So again, I will say, all those wonderful things that you felt for Mike, you were feeling for Sonny, because that is also who Sonny is. People would not love him if he wasn't. If he was just a ruthless killer, mob boss who didn't care about nothing, did no philanthropy, did nothing for his community, did nothing to keep drugs and guns out of Port Charles, did nothing to save a lot of the same people who scorned him's lives over the years, then we could say that. Then we can go with what Jack's perception of him is. But we know better. We know that Sonny and Mike has always been the same person. It's just that he was split. That's all. And if his memories would have been treated with respect, or his care, but this is a soap opera. So they had to draw it out. They couldn't just give us what we wanted, because then that would only be a few weeks. They have to draw it out for a year. Not understanding how tired that makes us. Okay? That we rather you did lock it up within a few weeks or a month. Or a few months. Not a year or 2 or 3 or 4 of the same BS. Of the same bad people winning. All the time. Good guys can't have no peace. Not for one single moment. Nothing. Showing some love in the afternoon. Without crises. That has to be so over the top that we're all looking at each other going like this. Like, really, writers? Really? I don't want him to come back thinking that everything is going to fall back in place. He's got some splaining to do. Okay? Because the bottom line is you did not want to find out who you were. The bottom line, it did have to take this near-death experience. So if this experience did not take place, if Peter, Pumpkin Eater did not come in to set the fire and blow Nina's world up, you would still be walking around talking about Mike and love Nina. Really? With stupid idiots like Jax feeling really good about themselves torturing you because you don't remember. And more than willing to let you burn up in a fire. Jax, too, don't need to go back to Port Charles. Him and Nina need to just go back to Australia together. They can go together. Okay? Because Carly's going to be like, okay, hold up, Jax. You went to Nixon Falls and you saw Sonny? Or you thought he was, or you thought you saw Sonny? And you didn't tell us. Because then that would have triggered something in them. They would have said, do we, Jason and Carly, need to go to Nixon Falls? But you didn't give them that opportunity. And then, when Jocelyn gave you the clue with the sauce, that was your second opportunity. Instead of feeling like, I need to save Nina from herself. I need to save Nina from herself. And if Sonny is alive, I'm gonna be the hero to bring him back and make everybody forgive me for being such a jerky butt. Trying not to curse. But yeah, Jax is a jerky butt. And he doesn't deserve any out when it comes to this situation either. And when Sonny walks out that room and acknowledges, I know who you are, Jax, that's going to be another fight. At least it better be. Don't let him leave before Sonny sees him. Because why did you come here, Jax? I know who I am. I remember meeting you. I remember meeting you a couple of times and you popping garbage to me. You too, not willing to give me my memories properly. Instead, talking trash. Making me so uncomfortable, so visually uncomfortable because I know you from somewhere. I know you from somewhere. But because Sonny Mike was fighting with his memories and the writers would not allow any of these familiar faces or names click in his head, which I still have a problem with, this is what's happening. Okay? This is what's happening. So, don't sit back and think that Jax is supposed to escape the wrath of the family as well. He definitely needs to feel the fire. Okay? Because he's just as bad as Nina. Because the only reason why he wants to tell the truth because he thinks it will save Nina. No. There's no saving Nina. Did you see her level of crazy? Did you see her level of crazy? Okay? Remember, this is the same crazy chick who snatched Ava, forced her into labor to take her baby, and was willing to C-section that baby out of her, Avery, to have her. And then ran off with her with no intentions of giving her back until Franco realized that this was truly wrong and had to talk her back out of it and then get her into a mental institution, her in Shady Brook. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sorry. No leeway for Nina. No leeway for Jax. They both need to feel the fire of Carly, Sonny, Jason, Jocelyn, Michael, everybody. 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 Every. Should I say it again? Do I need to say it again? Every. Okay? Because who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? It just wears me out. It truly does. Sorry, doing 50 things at one time. Okay? So, that's where we are at the moment. I'm sorry, folks. I do try to keep this down less than 40 minutes, but it looks like we are about to hit the 45-minute mark. I know there is so much more that we need to talk about, but again, Monday is tomorrow, and while I don't watch the show in real time, so I can fast forward past the commercials and just get to the good stuff, we'll talk about it. If the issue hits the fanny really hard, then you'll get an additional video from me tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you at the end of the week on the weekends, and we can recap the entire week. But things are getting a little more exciting, so you might get something from me in the middle of the week. Let's not hold back the likes, the shares, the comments. I need you to subscribe. I want you to join me, hang out with me, and talk about General Hospital. So thank you again. last episode this past week, and we are talking about the week of September 13th through the 17th at I Love GH. But take care.